Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing the latest generation Omega Seamaster Aqua Terra 41. As redesigned for 2017, the watch is 41 millimeters in diameter, crafted of Sedna red gold and stainless steel. It measures 13.4 millimeters thick, which makes it one of the thinnest Omega automatics. And from lug tip to lug tip, 47.4 millimeters across the wrist, with a spacing between the lugs of 20 millimeters. Open up the clasp, which you can see is a trigger actuated double fold, and we'll throw it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Now you can see on my wrist, it's a good fit. It's narrow across the wrist to the point that I could recommend this for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. It's fairly flat with a sloped bezel. It's a decent match for a dress cuff and one of the dressier Seamasters. The Aqua Terra is not a professional model Seamaster. It's not a dive watch. It's a direct descendant of the original 1948 Seamaster, which was a water-resistant all-arounder for men. This is an all-arounder for men, maybe even for women. Taking a look at the bracelet, you can see it's a 3-link design, and it has a little bit of a taper, a conforming end piece to create a more integrated junction with the case, polished centers, polished outer faces, and you can see satinated shoulders. We have removable links fixed by screws. There's a half link in there, and you can see that is true on each side. There are plenty of removable links. We have a twin trigger release system, so you have to press both to release the clasp. It's a sequential fold. You can see one side closes before the other, and it's fairly thin. This is one of the advantages of not being an Omega dive watch. The clasp assembly is much thinner on the wrist. The case is familiar to Omega fans, lyre-style lugs with both inward and outward bevels, with the outer bevels polished. Satination along the case band. You can actually see, if you look carefully, that the gold signature and the Omega logo sit on the outermost vertical face, the narrow vertical face of the bezel. The bezel slightly stepped in from the case band to pair the visual mass, and we have a conical profile above the vertical portion. There's much less of a shear guard profile to the crown post-2017, and you can see that here. However, the screw-down crown continues to help the watch rate 150-meter water resistance. The dial has the horizontal teak deck design that was introduced for 2017, rose gold plated indices and hands, and then we have a little date down at 6. It used to be at 3. Applique, rose gold Omega logo, and marquee. The watch includes 2 subsidiary setting modes. It is a screw-down crown, but pull the crown out all the way. You activate hacking seconds, and then there's an intermediate position where you can step the hour hand independently. So if you are a traveler, you can move that hand while the minutes and the seconds remain constant and running. So you can see how I'm able to move the date forward or backwards. I can travel east or west using this system. Turning the watch over, it's not an entry-level model, and you can see that because it employs the Omega Master Coaxial chronometer caliber 8900. The 2-barrel Omega movements are the upscale ones. So this is the 8900 automatic winding, 2 barrels, 60 hours of power reserve. It beats away at 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is specific to Swatch Group watches that have anti-magnetic silicon hairsprings, which this one does. The timepiece is a master chronometer, which means that it goes through all of the COSC testing, but is a fully cased-up watch and tested in 6 positions, not 5. Master chronometer testing also includes tests of winding efficiency, power reserve, water resistance, shock resistance, and anti-magnetism. We have a full balance bridge and a free spring index for shock tolerance, and a coaxial escapement as envisioned by George Daniels and industrialized by Omega, extending the power reserve, the intervals between maintenance, and improving precision. And this is a 39 joule movement, a timepiece that has so much to recommend it. I should mention that those 2 barrels don't just endow the watch with a 60-hour power reserve. 2 barrels means there's less of a drop-off in balance amplitude after, for example, 24 or 48 hours than you would find with a single barrel movement like a Rolex. Let's do a loom shot here because this watch is well loomed. It is a sports surf and turf watch after all, sports casual. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.